Welcome back to the Icecrown Raid Guide. My name is Darksend, and in this video I will cover our strategy for the 25-man version of the Sindragosa encounter. If you'd like more information, or would like to learn more about downloading this movie, click more info on the movie information box on YouTube to head directly to TankSpot. Also, be sure to subscribe by clicking the subscribe button to the right to be automatically notified as we release new movies. Finally, TankSpot donors can download all of these movies in high definition directly from our servers. Click the second link in the movie information box to learn more about this service. Sindragosa has 3 phases. Phase 1, which is her ground phase, and Phase 2, which is her air phase, alternate until 35%, which begins Phase 3. During this, she will remain grounded until you kill her. She has a 10-minute enrage timer that was almost an issue for us. We used 3 tanks and 7 healers, but we also had a DPS trying to complete the quest for Shadowmourne, which essentially removed him from the fight. With the good DPS, or only using 6 healers, that air phase we got around 40% would be able to be skipped, gaining you almost 2 extra minutes towards the enrage timer. Make sure to keep her faced away from the raid, as Phase 1 is your typical dragon encounter. Cleave? Check. Frontal cone breath? Check. Tail swipe? She's got it all. Also, make sure to have some form of frost resist active, as she has a frost aura which ticks for about 4,500 every 3 seconds, in addition to the frost breath, which hits for about 40k before it resists. She actually casts the tail smash though, which does about 15k damage on average, and will not only hit people behind her, but also to her side. Because of this, all melee need to stay at max melee range. The Frost Breath leaves a stacking debuff on anyone it hits, lowering attack speed by 50% per stack, and movement speed by 15% per stack. As a druid, shifting would remove both aspects of the debuff, not just the move speed as one would expect. She also has an AoE death grip called Icy Grip. It will pull everyone in line of sight, a point which plays a large role in Phase 3, into melee range. As soon as this happens, she will immediately begin casting Blistering Cold. After 5 seconds, she will deal a large AoE nuke that will kill any non-tank within 25 yards of her. As soon as you see yourself flying through the air, make sure to turn your camera away from her, as she can turn you around if you were previously facing away before Icy Grip, and begin running away as soon as you land. Should the tank stay in, as you can see happen several times in this video, she will begin to walk through you, so be careful with positioning. The final 2 abilities are role specific. All casters can randomly get a debuff called Unchained Magic. Unchained Magic will give a second debuff every time you cast called Instability. After 8 seconds, Instability will backlash the caster, inflicting damage based on the number of stacks of instability. Oddly, this ability can crit, so we had our casters stop at a 5 or 6 stack, let it explode, ensure they survive, and then resume DPS. If this is on a healer, especially a tank healer, they need to call it out right away so other healers know to pick up the slack, or a tank will probably die, especially in Phase 3. The melee DPS, hunters, and tanks will instead get chilled to the bone. Every physical attack has a chance to place Chilled to the Bone on you, which will cause damage every 2 seconds and will stack. The chance to be applied is very low, so you can never stop attacking sometimes and have it fall off at a 2 or a 3 stack, but then later in the fight have a 10 stack without even realizing it in only a few seconds. Again, simply stop attacking and it'll fall off. For Phase 2, she will fly in the air and Frost Beacon 5 people in 25 men. Those people need to run to the middle and spread out. After 7 seconds, they will get tuned and AoE everyone around them. If they are not spread out enough, they will kill each other, causing you to lose ice blocks. We had a mod that marked the 5 people, and our strategy was for whoever got the skull to be the middle block, and the others would then spread out around that person. Should a person not beaconed get too close, it will entomb that person as well, costing you DPS by having an extra person to now break out. Make sure to stay out of the middle until the tomb goes off. Almost immediately after the tombs go out, the first of 4 frost bombs will go out. Similar to Saffron, if you are behind a tomb, the frost bomb will not cause any damage to you. You can safely survive one of the 4. Either a tomb dying that you were behind, or the very first one can go out so quick that you simply do not have enough time to run behind one. Should this happen, quickly get topped up, as the second one will definitely kill you. It is possible to kill all 5 before the 4th bomb, so be careful. The goal is to AoE them down so they can be killed just after the 4th one goes off. Should you fail to break anyone out, they will be asphyxiated, and begin taking damage equal to 8% of their total health every second until they are broken out. You cannot target people in the blocks to heal them. However, heals such as Renew and Regrowth and Rejuve will continue to tick. This will repeat until 35%, when she becomes permanently grounded and enters Phase 3. She retains all of her Phase 1 abilities, in addition to now tombing one person every couple of seconds while she's on the ground, and gains an entirely new ability called Mystic Buffet. The Mystic Buffet increases magic damage taken by 15% per stack, and is applied every 5 seconds to people in line of sight. The tomb is your way out of this. By running behind the tomb player that she now does on the ground, you will line of sight not only the buffet, but also the pull, meaning you won't have to run away. The buffet amplifies the backlash, the frost aura, and the dot the melee get. So casters really need to make sure they don't get more than 2 or 3 stacks of it, or they risk killing themselves. Paladins work great for this phase because they can beacon the tank and permanently stay behind an ice block and permanently LOS the buffet. Should any healer get it in this phase, the other healers really need to pick up the slack. The people with beacon need to juggle not being so far away that people are constantly running and never getting to DPS the boss, with not being so close that they tomb range DPS. To counter this, we had everyone stack just outside max melee range, ensuring they wouldn't get tombed, while also avoiding the tail smash. The first beacon would always run behind the raid and to the right, while the second would run behind the raid to the left, alternating left-right every beacon. As such, we split the raid into a right reset group and a left reset group. You cannot miss a reset without risking being killed. So if you do somehow miss one because you're too far away, you have to go with the other group, even though it's not the one you're assigned. As you can tell from watching the video, the tank rotation at this point gets really crazy. Part of the problem was, by the time you left the tomb to go run back into melee range, the run would be so long that by the time you were in a safe position to taunt without breathing or cleaving the raid, you would already have 2 stacks. This was the major point in why we decided to use 3 tanks for this fight. Phase 3 is a pure endurance battle. This fight is above all a make sure you survive the encounter. If 25 people are alive, you should have no problem with the rage timer. But very rarely will you have 25 people actually still alive at that point. Make sure to stress to your raid that execution above anything, including personal DPS, matters here. Make sure to run away with blocks, stop attacking and casting when you get the debuffs, coordinate tank cooldowns and taunts in Phase 3, and keep yourselves alive at all costs, and you'll have yourselves a kill. Thanks for watching this movie. As always, feel free to ask questions or add suggestions either here on YouTube or in the strategy thread at TankSpot.com. Good luck.